I learned that in training camp. You know, it just takes a minute for us to gel. It was a new team. You know, so yeah, it just took a minute for us to figure each other out, and I feel like now we're rolling.
We met the intensity, what they were bringing to the table. We met the physicality with physicality, and started to get up into them. You know, allowed us to get some turnovers, allowed us to get some extra possessions, and it allowed us to get back into the game. So, like I said, you know, sometimes it takes a quarter, 2 quarters, a full game to get used to playoff basketball once again. So it shouldn't be no surprise on Tuesday.
It's not to say our guys weren't like ready to withstand like a playoff level basketball game. We were mentally ready. I thought our spirit was right. I thought even when they made runs, our huddles were great. You know, the communication was great. You know, I'm not sure physically we were ready, if that makes sense.
No, it sort of does. And just how important was Saturday's win for Minnesota? Well, for LeBron in his postseason career, his teams have a series record of 29-2 when winning Game 1, including 20 straight series wins. Now, on the other hand, teams that take Game 1 against LeBron have won the series nearly half the time, including 3 straight series wins. As for Luka, had 37 in his Lakers playoff debut. Here's what he had to say.
Luka, several of your teammates talked about the need to match the Timberwolves' physicality a little bit better. You obviously played against them last year and you know, a little more familiar in the playoff context, but did you feel like that was lacking some in parts of the game and you guys can respond better in Game 2?
Definitely. I think the fourth quarter we played the way we play. I think we were playing physical. Everybody was locked in. And then we just kind of, let go of the rope. You know, so we got to be way more physical. It's 48 minutes, and every possession matters.
Luka, you just mentioned letting go of the rope. What did you see in the second quarter and then like that first half of the third quarter before you guys went on that run to close it there?
Just
the middle 2 quarters when I think they outscored you guys by like 34 in that middle stretch. What did you see during that stretch?
Yeah, I think it was physical. You know, they were hitting a lot of threes. We got to limit their threes, especially their lasers. And we weren't physical. They were running. They were getting anything they want, and we got to be better with that.
I'm joined now by Kendrick Perkins. And, look, it is quite obvious that the Timberwolves were unfazed and unbothered about starting this series against the Lakers in L.A. But how do you explain them going into that arena and blowing out LeBron and Luka?
They got on their ass like back pockets defensively. That's what they did. And a pair of apple bottoms. And listen, it started with Anthony Edwards. They had him uncomfortable, Reeves, the entire night. They were pressuring up. They were physical with him. They were communicating on switches. They did a great job of sliding their puppies all across the board. And here's the one thing that J.J. Redick didn't say in his interview. He didn't say, I got to hold myself accountable for his defensive scheme. Because over the last 2 months, what J.J. and the Lakers do defensively is they load up boxes and elbows, and they dare teams to make three-point shots. And that's exactly what this professional team did today in the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have shot makers. Jay McDaniels have made threes in the playoffs before. He did it last year. Naz Reid is known for knocking down three-point shots. Anthony Edwards had a career year from the three-point line. So now J.J. Redick has to go back to the drawing board and make an in-series adjustment. What are you going to do? Are you going to play Jackson Hayes more minutes? Are you not going to play the small ball lineup so much? How can I get LeBron James going even more? Maybe try him on the low block to create mismatches so he could punish the smaller guys. Whatever it is, that was a total team loss all across the board, not just the players, but on J.J. Redick as well.
So to your point, 21 for 42 is what Minnesota shot from three, and Naz Reid was 6 of 9 off the bench. He finished with 23. Speaking of points, though, let's go to L.A. for a second. We mentioned how few points they scored in this game, especially since LeBron and Luka have been together. Everyone believes that Luka and LeBron can lead a team, obviously, deep into the playoffs, but they're going to need some help. It may not be the same person every night, but they're going to have someone else pull some of that scoring load. Is it Austin Reeves, or has it got to be somebody else here?
Look, Eves, I said this before the postseason. I was called everything but a child of God. LeBron James and Luka are the best players on the Lakers. We know this. Austin Reeves is the most important
player in the Lakers versus Wolves series.
It's Anthony Edwards. He should be looking at this like a golden opportunity. The Lakers got a lot of things going for them. Their perimeter attack, their different ball handlers, they've showed that they've built some depth. They are not great on the perimeter defense, and they do not have a basket defender. J.J. Redick has been taken out Jackson Hayes 5-6 minutes into the game. He can't wait to get Dorian Finney-Smith into that lineup because of how much it helps them offensively. But he is not a basket defender. This is Ant Edwards' time to shine, and they're going to need it. You know, last year when he played in the conference finals, they went through that grinder against the Nuggets in the second round. He was exhausted. I covered that series. He didn't have anything. Luka averaged 33 points a game in that series. Ant didn't even score 30 once. In that series against the Nuggets, he had 2 40-point games. He was a huge, impactful player. He didn't have a great Game 7, but was hugely impactful. He just didn't have any gas left in the tank. That's not going to be the case here. He's going to be rested, and there are obviously going to be role players that play a factor here, but for the Wolves to pull this off, especially having to come out here to L.A. where the Lakers are one of the best home teams in the league, Ant Edwards needs to be awesome. He needs multiple 40-point games. He needs to be the best player on the court, outplaying LeBron and Luka several times in this series if the Wolves are pulling this off.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that, though, Wendy, because I think Minnesota will be competitive. He is going to play well in this series. He'll be motivated by LeBron and Luka. He's going to score his 35 a game in this series. I'm assuming that. I'm going to assume that. I think for the Timberwolves to win, Randall's got to show up. He has not been a good postseason player. He was awful with the Hawks 3 years ago. Now, last year he was hurt. We give him a little break. He was not good against Miami when they lost in 6 2 years ago. This trade, I mean, let's face it, the Knicks have won a trade here with Karl Anthony Towns. They need Randall here to have a chance to win. I'm assuming Anthony Edwards is going to be great. I'm assuming that. Now, if I'm wrong, you'll be right. Different case. I think he's going to score 35. He's going to get his points. Randall has to be really, really good. I'm not sure if he's capable. I think if he is really good, they got a chance to win. So I'm going to say Randall for Minnesota, the most important, for an upset.
I think that Randall is important. I think that he will show up. I think that he'll produce to a degree, but I still think that Minnesota will lose this series. Having said that, I've said this before and I said it again. Anthony Edwards has arrived. This brother can be Jordan-esque. It is special to watch this brother play. And outside of his actual game, what you love is his moxie, the fact that he embraces the challenge. He goes after it. When the lights get bright, he doesn't shrink. He wants it. He wants the smoke. And certainly, if that was the mentality that you had before, this ain't Kevin Durant as great as Kevin Durant is. This ain't KD with Booker and Beal. This isn't even Jokic, Murray. I'm talking about from a box office perspective, the sizzle. It doesn't get much better than Luka and LeBron on the same damn team. And you're going up against them, and you're the lone star on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I believe Anthony Edwards, this is his moment. Of all the moments that he has had, this is it right here. I think this brother is going to show up. I think he's going to show out. I think that he is going to average over 30 in this series. Now, J.J. Redick will do what he can because I think he's proven to be a damn good coach, and he's a Coach of the Year candidate. And Nate McMillan, rather, and Scott Brooks and those guys on the bench. I mean, listen, he's got a great coaching staff, all of them. Any name that I didn't mention, I apologize. There's a few others over there that do a great job for him as well.
Slate is our ABC game just across the street between the Lakers and the Wolves. And with all of the storylines between Luka's playoff debut with the Lakers, Anthony Edwards' little revenge tour here, it feels like it's easy to overlook the fact that it is LeBron's 18th playoff run that's about to tip off. What's different about him in the postseason?
Well, what's different about him this postseason is, one, he got Luka Doncic, who he is excited about playing with. Two, LeBron James always like to look ahead and look at his matchups to see how can he get to the NBA Finals or what's the route, right? And so when you think about it, yes, you're going against the Minnesota Timberwolves, which he feel like he's going to pull that series out. Then you get the winner out of between Rockets and Golden State. LeBron James looking at this season with with Luka and the way that Austin Reeves is playing, and he's saying, you know what? We have a legitimate shot of getting to the NBA Finals. And if I'm LeBron James and I get to the NBA Finals, the greatest player of all times, we don't know what could happen.
LeBron James in the postseason, there is nothing like it. And we know, Perk, that LeBron has made plenty of playoff history here. But there's also plenty of history between some other players in this matchup, Udonis. I mean, we all remember the shot, right? Luka Doncic against the Wolves in the playoffs last year. Let's just take a listen together to Rudy Gobert, because he remembers too.
My whole career, I'm very likely to be crossed over, very likely to, people are going to hit some tough shots over me, and then I might get dunked on, all that stuff might happen, but let's see what happened over the course of, hundreds and hundreds of possessions.
All right, so what does Luka need to change, or Gobert rather need to change when he gets switched on to Luka here?
Well, he definitely needs to stay in front, kind of push him to his help. I would advise that Minnesota shrinks the elbows, never letting Rudy feel like he's absolutely one-on-one. But if we look here, we're looking at the drop coverage right now. Right now, Luka's coming off seeing too much space. He's 6'8", so once he gets the defender on his back, he creates that 2-on-1 pocket. He has the pull-up. He has the crossover. He has too many options right here. So now he crosses over like he's going to lay it up. No, but he throws the lob to Gafford right now. Too many options as he comes off that pick and roll. Once again, I think the scream is to set it up high. So once he sets it high, he has so many options. Now, once again, at 6'8", and this is Kyle Anderson, who's a big defender, but Luka is big. At 6'8", he gets in that pocket and keeps him on his backside. Now Rudy is in that 2-on-1 again, and he gets the lob again. Luka thrives in that drop coverage. He's averaging 1.14 points per play against the drop coverage. Rudy works in the drop coverage 64% of the time. I think Minnesota really has to make an adjustment, and if I'm making that adjustment, I'm matching Rudy's minutes with Jackson Hayes. I'm trapping Luka out at the three-point line. I'm making Jackson Hayes beat me. He has to be the playmaking big in the middle. You change that rotation when you bring Bron in at the 5, obviously, but with Jackson Hayes in, I'm not switching, and I'm definitely not drop coveraging against Luka.
I love what J.J. Redick said. He said, I think Luka likes to play against Rudy Gobert so much because he's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, and Luka thrives going against the best in the world because he thinks that no one in the world can guard him. UD, thank you so very much for that breakdown here, sir. So we've talked about the Lakers stars here, but what about on the Timberwolves side of all of this, right? That's where we get to Anthony Edwards, who said he's exactly where he wants to be. He thrives being the underdog, Stephen A. What are you looking for from him?
I'm looking